Hi, Sean. All right, moving on. Uttihita, Trikonasana, extended. We can knock these out pretty quickly. Just a couple points I want to make about them. Actually, triangle for me was one of those poses that I still will catch myself in the mirror and I look completely jacked up and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But I mean, I've read a lot about it. I've watched so many instructional videos on YouTube. I've asked my instructors questions because for me, the alignment on this one is not intuitive at all. And you can feel so many different things in triangle pose. So it feels maybe like you're in the pose and then you look and you're like, I'm not in the pose at all. Happens in pyramid too, but we'll get to that later. But okay, so Uttihita, Trikonasana, triangle pose. I've heard before that you should just jump your feet apart wherever they land is naturally where they're supposed to be. But just kind of something interesting to do is to line your feet up at the edge of your mat, and you'll actually notice that you're slightly pigeon-toed to get your pinky toe and the outer edge of your heel in a straight line. But that's actually your feet that's standing straight. So we tend to stand like this, but if you were to have a line right here and you lined the outer edge of your foot up with it, your big toes would be turned slightly in so that we can tuck our tailbone. I'm finding some of those elements of Tadasana here, standing up tall, arms out long. It's nice to flip the palms to start, and that's going to pull your shoulders down. Try to keep your shoulder blades down as you turn your palms back down. Reach the fingertips apart, squeeze the shoulders together and down the back. Crown of the head up to the sky, chin slightly back, and here we are. We find ourselves right here. And then moving from here, you would turn one toe out to the right, angle it out to the right. Sometimes we need to take a little bit of a wider stance here, and then we always tend to reach forward. We're bumping the hip back. What we're doing is creating space, and then moving into that space, lowering the hand down, extending the top arm. And then here's the thing. So we tend to do this. It gets our face closer to the ground. So we think in our heads we're closer to the ground, but we haven't done anything but lose the posture. Really what you want to do, and you'll hear people cue this, and it's so difficult to understand, but the top rib cage is going down, and you're expanding out, and you'll see what happens when you do that is you have a beautiful triangular shape right in through here. So it's not just through the legs or the entire body. You have lots of triangular shapes with the body, but to me, this is the most difficult one to find. So try not to round up and in here. Try to melt that lower rib cage down and out as you lower that top rib cage down. Shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, and lung over lung. Hopefully not sliding. Maybe you should use a mat next time. A nice one here too is to take that top arm and extend it overhead, and then get a nice good side stretch here as well. Just a variation that I always think feels really nice. And then one other thing, we tend to roll to the outer edge of that front foot, and we tend to roll to the inner arch of the back foot. So make sure that you stay rooted through the pinky toe edge of the back foot, and the big toe ball mound stays rooted down in the front foot. So there is our triangle pose. Come on up. We'll turn I'll turn just a little bit here. So coming into revolve triangle, I like to take the front foot and walk it slightly to the right, but I've had two kids. My hips are a little bit wider maybe than yours are. But so you often hear like heel to inner arch alignment. I think that is the closest you should ever be. So if you need to take your feet farther apart, I think you should, so that you can pull this front hip back and that left hip forward. So folding from this space, it's often helpful to take your hand to your hip and keep manually pulling it back as you begin to bring your body forward. If not, we tend to cock that back hip up. Once again, our face goes closer to the ground, but we're not intensifying the stretch. Right hand to the right hip, pull it back. Inhale, lift up. Keep pulling the hip back as you fold down, and then reach for the front through the crown of the head. The fingertips, reach for the back through the hips. Rooting down through your feet, plant your left hand underneath your left shoulder, and then do it again. Take that right hip back, left hip forward, and then it's always nice to start here, pushing the floor away to lift up. So we think about rooting down, but we're also lifting. left side of your belly is reaching for the inside of your right rib cage. And then maybe extend the arm up. Once again, we want shoulder over shoulder here. Trying to breathe here. We tend to lift the back heel. We want to keep it down. We tend to roll once again to the inner arch of our front foot. Want to keep all four corners down, keep twisting, keep reaching, keep taking that hip back. And that's our Parivrtta, Trikonasana, the revolved triangle. So there you go, triangle poses, and I'll see you soon. Happy Monday, and have a good week.